Words have lost meaning. Oscar is absolutely right. You know what? Since we're talking about this, you know how sometimes people call me racist, blah, 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 right? I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's ridiculous, but I do want to say one thing. It's still happening. I don't know how it's still, how this strategy of calling everyone racist, but someone did call me racist a few hours ago. And I want to see if you think that my take was indeed racist. I was showing this. Now, given I personally don't use the word woke as much because I'm annoyed by people that use it constantly, but I did want to comment on this image here. And what I commented on this image is the following. I said, the one above is the superior form of diversity because it is based on the truth. This one here. So we have an ancient Roman, clearly European, Mediterranean, okay? We've got a Native American, we've got a Norse, we've got a black African warrior, we've got an Asian Buddhist, probably from, I imagine from China, we've got a Japanese samurai. So we have a wonderful display of different, beautiful, rich cultures throughout the world. And I think that this is the kind of historically accurate diversity that I love and support. Then I say the one at the bottom is just political propaganda. This, which focuses on inclusivity at all cost, including the bending of historical truth. See Netflix Cleopatra. Even if you disagree and think the one at the bottom is fine and it doesn't bother you, which I would respect, still false, in the sense that you don't mind it, at least I would respect you more than I do those who gaslight you and tell you that the one at the bottom is not actually happening in media. It is. That's a fact, and gaslighters are bottom-feeding, manipulative liars. This is what I said. I stand by this position, and this is, I think, a good situation in which I'm showing a moderate take. A moderate take. Because unfortunately, in the current era in which we are living, a far left, not leaning, not right-leaning, not left-leaning, a far left take, specifically in the American context, which is different, is, no, we're going to do this, and if you disagree, you're racist, and a alt-right take on this, it would be only this one matter, everything else is inferior. A moderate take instead is mine, the one where I say, all of these are beautiful. I love all of it. As a European, I am particular, have a preference over ancient Rome because I'm a Roman fanboy. Absolutely, it's a bias of mine, but I love all of them. That's a moderate take. And the people that can't see that, well, it's their problem. It's not my problem. And of course, among these comments, we got the usual, so you're a closeted racist, good to know. So that happens, and it's one of the reasons why. I don't even know why people still do that. It doesn't work. No one likes that kind of approach, including mildly left-leaning people. It just doesn't work. It's a tactic that doesn't work. Calling everyone a racist doesn't work. So might as well change tactic, rearrange strategy, and engage. So that's where we are, guys. When people tell me that I'm fixated with ethnicity, even though ethnically connected videos are probably like 50 or 60 in my channel, but I have 1,200 videos. So in the majority of cases, you'll hear me bitch about a wrong helmet. But sometimes I do talk about correct interpretation of ethnicity, but whenever I do it, I call out both sides. If they whitewash a historical character that is black or Asian and whatnot, I call it out. And when they blackwash a character who is white, I call it out equally. So that's what I do. It's my take. It's the basis of the platform. But for some reasons, the haters tend to forget that. Conveniently, because at the end of the day, if you use a word too much and you use it in contexts where it's not apt, what happens is that it dilutes the meaning of the word. This is actually a semantic occurrence. It's a phenomenon that does happen, and then what happens is that the word means nothing and then it needs to be substituted. You think that reply I got was AI generated? Maybe, who knows? I mean, it's becoming difficult, harder and harder to recognize and distinguish AI from human beings. I mean, isn't that part of the dead internet theory? I don't know which one is worse. Vishal says, apparently common sense is racist. Yeah, that is, unfortunately, one way to look at it, isn't it? Common sense is an oxymoron. Yeah, it's not common at all. You're absolutely right, my friend. I couldn't have put it better myself. It's actually well said. I don't like hateful people, toxic people, and I try to remove them, block them, so I don't have to interact with them. But then, where you're from, doesn't matter. If you're a bad person, you're a bad person, and I won't defend you, regardless of the color of your skin. And if you are a good person, then I will defend you, regardless of the color of your skin. So to me, it doesn't matter. Careful, Metatron, you're in America, not Italy. Yeah, exactly. And by the way things are starting to look in Europe, I'm actually happy to be in America. Land of the free. Not a perfect country, by any stretch of definition. But the fact that I can post something on social media and I don't have to worry about it, whether it's going to have consequences, then I'm happy to be in America. Still things need to be fixed. Absolutely. I'm happy to be in America. I've even received a letter, I think you know this, but the government in immigration, I got a letter from immigration and border control, I think it's called. And I got a letter from the government and they said that I'm now allowed to begin my application to receive American citizenship. I will do that. It might take a few years. I'm already in discussing with my immigration lawyer. So far it's been great. He's helped me through going through the process of getting a green card and then get it extended as well. And so I'll do that. And then I know already my wife and I have decided that our children will be Americans. Yeah, I will also teach them Italian because I want them to have a connection with the old world, if you will. But I also will teach them to be proud of being Americans. I'll teach them to be proud of the history that connects us to our ancestors. And the same way, I would encourage someone of an African American or an Asian American, for instance, heritage. I think they should be proud of the history and the things that they love and the culture and whatnot. But I'm not going to tell my kids, no, but it's problematic. Don't say that you're proud of European. And no, do say it. Absolutely. That's what I'm teaching my kids. Thank you, Gizgamesh says, never stop speaking facts, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll never stop speaking my mind, whether it offends or not. But then again, the only people that get offended, they're basically in a cult. People that go nuts for takes like this, that don't involve any hatred in any way, shape, or form, they're in a cult. And at that point, I don't care about what they think. People will disagree. They will tell me, no, I disagree because of this. Great. But people that are like, it goes something in their head at that point. I'm a different kind of Italian American. My kids will be Italian American, literally. Because, one parent is American. And the way we're going to do it linguistically, by the way, because I have a course training since I'm a linguist and a trained teacher, is that I told my wife what we're going to do, and she agrees with that, is when we have a daughter or a son, you speak to mommy in English, you speak to daddy in Italian. That's how it's going to be. And believe me, that's sufficient. As long as you do it within the window of the first 3 years of life, they'll be 100% bilingual. And then you have to continue it, otherwise their vocabulary will be kind of poor. But as long as you keep doing that, by the times they're like teenagers, they'll be 100% native in both. Not Sicilian? That's a good question. No. We talked about it. All I would do when it comes to Sicilian, I will teach them the odd word, just for fun. So like how in Sicily, when we want to say, come on, in Italian you would say, dai, andiamo. So come on, let's go. But in Sicilian we say, amuni. Amuni. It's a cute sounding word. So I'll teach them words like this. The occasional Sicilian word to remind them that daddy's from Sicily. I will do it, but Italian will be the language. I want them to have a language that they can actually use in a work environment, in a business environment, in a teaching environment. Because, you never know. Maybe in the future, my kid, when they are 18, and by the way, I'm going to start saving. I think I'm going to create a separate bank account where I'm never going to withdraw, and I'm going to put something like maybe $100 a month in that account. I'll do it for the next 20 years. So when they are 18, I'll give them the entirety of the money. What they want to do with that, it's entirely up to them. If my kid wants to invest in an education, they will. If my kid wants to use it because for their passions and whatever they love doing, they can do it. But at that point, I'll make sure they will be provided, because for me, since I grew up in a family that was struggling financially, my mom and my dad did a lot of sacrifices to be able to pay for my first year of university, but after that they could not afford to send me any money whatsoever when I moved from Sicily to Naples. Luckily, I didn't have to stop, not only because in Italy it's a lot less expensive, but even in that scenario we were struggling to be able, because you still have to pay rent, you still have to pay food, you still have to buy the books, regardless of the fact that education taxes are not the same as by any stretch of definition they would be in the US. But luckily, I was so passionate about what I was studying, Japanese, Chinese, history, medieval history, ancient Rome, that I got 3 scholarships. And so that was, I think I got something like $15,000 or $20,000 from the European fund. And because of that, I paid myself for the entirety of my stay during the 4 years that I needed for university. And basically, I graduated for free. 0 debt. Luckily that happened, a little bit of family story, but I don't want my kid to have to make the sacrifices that I made. I want my kid, I'll try not to spoil them, teach them to be, grateful for what we have. But at the same time, I want to do the best I can to make sure that they will have the best life possible. But one thing that we can do is definitely bring them up bilingual, because this way, if my kid is confused and they don't know what to do, they do have a career opportunity. You're bilingual. You could teach English in Italy, or you could teach Italian in the US, or wherever the heck you want. So at least they have that. They have that ability. It will be an easy skill that they have without having to do anything. It's kind of an investment. And then if they don't want to do that, they want to become a ballerina, become a ballerina. Want to be a barista, become a barista. Once they're teenagers, it's different. Your job is to defend them. Children, you got to protect them. That's your job. You do not allow them to make mistakes, or you don't allow a kid to put his fingers, a child, into a power outlet, but just simply because I need to respect their freedom. No, not in that case. It is my responsibility to make sure that they don't do it, because they don't have the development of the prefrontal cortex, among other things, to be able to understand the danger. But once they're adults, then hopefully the fruits of parenting will have done enough for the kid to be able to make their own mind and make the right decisions. But sometimes people have to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes.